Hey Dad. It's Tuesday morning. I'm about to go to work, but I thought I'd take a few minutes and give you a little story about what's been going on with our bees over the past couple of weeks. Here's our beehive. I don't know if you can see, some bees are coming and going right now, but we've had a lot of bee drama around here, and here's what's going on. I'm going to drink some coffee while I give you this little story. So we had a particularly mild winter here. It wasn't very cold. We didn't get a whole lot of rain. We had a few weeks of rain that were intense, but it wasn't like a long drawn-out rain season like we usually have. And I think as a result, a lot of the local beehives have thrived over the winter. Ours certainly did. We had a ton of, our bee population was big. There was a lot of bees in our hive. And what happens is when the bees start feeling like their hive is too crowded, or they're not going to have room to really expand, they swarm, which means that the queen leaves with half or more of the bees and goes to find another place to live, and then half the bees stay, and those bees make a new queen. And hopefully that queen, starts laying, and the bees that have stayed keep the hive going, while the bees that swarmed find a new place to live, and now you have two hives instead of one. And it's sort of controversial whether it's a good thing or not. Some people say, oh, it's a sign of a healthy hive that your bees have swarmed, and other people say, oh boy, you lost half your bees, and who knows if your new queen's going to get established and whatnot. So about, I don't know, 3 weeks, a month ago, Jenny called me from work. I was at work, and she called me and she said that there's a big swarm of bees in our tree. So I come home, and there's the swarm. It's in a pine tree that we have off our deck, but the swarm's probably 30 or 40 feet off the ground, and about 25 feet out off the deck, so it's really inaccessible. When there's a ball like that, it means that there's a queen inside, and then all these thousands of bees are around her, and they're sort of just protecting her. And then when the queen tells them, they all fly to the next place and they follow her. And while they're in this ball, they're sending out scouts to go find a suitable place for the swarm to sort of end up. So scouts are going out, and the queen is protected inside this ball. Anyway, that night we called our friend Sierra, who's this local beekeeper guy, a real character, and he came over probably 10, 11 o'clock at night, and he wanted to catch the swarm because he needed a queen for his hives. He has some bees that left and they didn't reestablish, so he wanted to have a new queen. So we built this rig that was a combination of a tree lopper, one of those long tree lopper things, and then we taped two probably 8-foot PVC pipes to the end of that thing, and then at the end of that we took like some coat hangers and made a circular hoop and taped that to the end of the rig, and then put a plastic bag at the bottom of it. So the idea was we'd get underneath the swarm and bonk it, boom, and then all the bees would fall into the bag, and then we'd pull it in and we'd put it in a box, and then Sierra would take it home and put it into his hive. So we do that, but it didn't work out that well. It was so far out off the deck that it was hard to control the rig because it was so kind of bouncy. So Sierra knocked the swarm, and bees went everywhere. And so we got a whole bunch of them, and we took them onto the deck, and Jenny poured them into a box. We're all in our bee suits and everything. And we cover up the box, and there's a lot of bees on the ground too, so we went out there with dustpans and scooped them up and put them in the box. And we looked at it the next morning, and we didn't get the queen. And you could tell we didn't get the queen because the bees in the box were very agitated and buzzing. And then back in that tree, in the same spot, a ball had reformed. So that means the queen was still there, and the bees had come back to ball around her. So we opened up this box and let all those bees go, and they all actually ended up going back onto that swarm. And then in the afternoon, the bees moved. Suddenly there was a cloud of bees, and they moved down to a lower tree, and they reformed a swarm. So Jenny put an email out to her bee group on some internet message board. She's on this bee group, and she said we have a swarm if anybody wants to come catch it. So this guy came, two guys came, and they had a long telescoping pole, and they caught the swarm. I think he's gonna get it, Jenny.
That look good?
Yeah. Oh. Shit.
Don't swat him. Just walk away.
In my hair.
You got it. You got it.
So the guy who caught the swarm, he was wearing, you know, like a Hawaiian shirt with no sleeves. He wasn't wearing a veil or anything. And when he bonked the bees and they came down, you know, they were all over him. They fell on his head and on his arms. And I said to him, "Are you getting stung?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm getting stung on my stomach, on my arms, on my neck." He didn't care. Anyway, so they took the bees away. And in the meantime, we needed to open our hive and see whether we had a queen in there or how many bees we had left. So Sierra came over the next day and we opened up our hive to see what was going on in there.
Be careful because it's going to have one really long. You got to pull straight up.
Oh,
Oh wait, yeah.
Why don't you just take the lid off? Take the lid off.
We need to take the frame.
so the frame's coming out of this one. It's not coming out of the little one.
Okay, ladies, go down. Oh no, third time today. No fair. No fair at all.
So that frame's got to come out and pull it straight up. So upon inspecting the hive, it turns out that we had a lot of bees still in there, a lot of bees, and there were some special cells that the bees had made, which look like peanuts. They're bigger cells, and those have a potential queen that's growing in there. So they're making their own queen. But we had quite a few of those, though, probably 10 of them or a dozen of these I call them swarm cells of a new queen cell.
So do you do this for making drone brood, for cutting down mites, or?
It's sort of inadvertent, but yeah. That's how it turned out. So if
You have a brush handy?
Yep. Can you brush them?
So Sierra still wanted a queen for his hive, so he came and he cut off some of the comb that was that had a queen cell and took that back to his hive, and to install that and see if he could establish a new queen in his hive.
Right here. So you're still going to have one queen cell in here.
That's good.
Now this one looks like a queen cell that already hatched.
Or that just hasn't been laid in.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to
I want it
scrape
right
all that out with a
in the
knife
middle.
too on top of the boxes? Or do you want to?
No.
And in the meantime,
You think I should?
we've been trying to get a new queen working in our hive, but we don't know if it's working or not. So right now we're in this state of not knowing if we have a new queen or not. We opened it this weekend and we just don't know. So probably when I see you in a couple weeks, I'll know if we have a queen. But in the meantime, we have a lot of bees. They're doing their thing, and hopefully our hive will get reestablished, and maybe we'll have some honey this year. Anyway, that's what's been going on. So anyway, I'll see you in a little bit, and I love you guys, and there's our little bee tour. All right, have a good Tuesday.